don't even need intro music. Good morning, good morning, everybody. It's Positive Tuesday today, February 25th, 2025. For Barron County Sheriff Chris Fitzgerald, I'm Ben Dryden, and you're watching The Big Show, Positive Tuesday with Ben and Fitzy, presented by Professional Exteriors and Interiors. With 20 years of experience, this locally owned and operated business provides quality work both on the inside and on the outside of your home or business. Like Fitzy and I, they believe it's the little things that make a big difference. Give them a call today, see what they can do for you. The number's right there on the screen, 715-520-2271. Fitzy, good morning.
Morning, how are you?
Fantastic.
Good deal.
Yeah. How have you been?
Beautiful day out.
It is.
Good.
I can't wait for Dirk's weather forecast because what a difference.
Yeah, I mean, it melted a lot of snow yesterday, and we're going to happen all week, it sounds like. So.
I know it. I hope so. Good morning. Sharon has already chimed this morning. Good morning, Dirk. Can't wait for your weather forecast. I loaded, but I didn't even get a chance to look at it yet. And good morning, Wayne. Well, we start with sports usually, but I sent you the link this morning. It was just a boys basketball one, but the WIAA 2025 boys basketball tournament, the brackets were announced. And wow, we have a whole bunch of teams that are ranked really high in our area. Which one stood out to you the most?
Turtle Lake's the 1 seed in Division 5. I think that's a big one.
Yeah.
New Auburn, small school, number 3. Some smaller schools. Then you go into Division 4. You got Shell Lake as a 9. Clear Lake is a 1.
Wow. So 2 number
Tech
1s.
Warehouser plays Cameron. That'll be a good matchup. That's a 6 versus 11, but 2 rival schools next to each other. We'll probably have to have a cop at that game.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it'll be in Cameron, 6 versus 11, but there's always some upsets in this, and that's why everybody likes it. Division 3, what do we have? Spooner's a 12 seed. They play Amory. Northwestern's usually pretty good. Barron's a 6 seed. They play Hayward. Rice Lake's a 7 seed in Division 2. So,
and where's this going to be on TV? What channel? Well, I think it's starts next week, like March 4th or something like that.
None of these will be on until the state tournament on TV. So,
isn't this the state tournament?
No. This is the brackets to get to regionals, sectionals, and then state tournament. So yes, and then you have girls. Don't forget about the girls side
Never
of it.
forget about the girls.
Yeah, and that starts actually tonight, Tuesday. Some of these matchups start tonight. And Rice Lake's in Division 1, 2. They're a number 1 seed. Barron plays Hayward. Spooner's a 12 seed again. They play tonight. Spooner and Northwestern play tonight in the girls' side. So this is the chance to go all the way for these teams. So it's a pretty exciting time for hockey playoffs are tonight. Sectionals and regionals. So Rice Lake, I know in hockey goes to Hayward. So Rice Lake, a big, huge rivalry. Rice Lake Hayward game tonight. So lots of great high school sports. So if you're looking for something to do, head out to your local high school gym or high school rink and watch some hockey, basketball.
I was thinking about you the other day, as I often do. I was in the garage and I was cleaning something, and all of a sudden I hear all these lights and sirens, but everybody's honking their horns. I'm like, what is going on? And apparently Spooner, like Youth Hockey Association or Spooner, 4A something, it's all these different names for these things. Apparently they won something. I don't know what it is, but they won something. Okay. And apparently, there were cops had all their lights on and stuff, and I'm thinking, I don't know, taxpayer dollars. Oh, boy.
That's right. Not supporting our youth. We wouldn't want to do that. Show kids that we.
Yeah.
So I'm sure Mikey got some. No, that's great. It was a state hockey for all our youth teams last weekend. They call it state hockey. This weekend and last weekend will be state youth hockey. So,
but isn't that what's kind of cool about small towns though? Is that they do that? I'm pretty sure that the Minneapolis Police Department, when they don't do that for it's just kind of it's another one of those neat things. Not just like the festivals that are awesome, but how cool is that? Right?
It is, and that's exactly why we live in a small town. We were talking about that at a presentation the other day at a nursing home. I gave a presentation on scams, and we talked about why we bank local, why we shop local, why we fix our houses local, because we take care of each other, and our banks help us out, and our nursing homes help us out, and so it was it's pretty special. It's pretty exciting for these schools to go and win. And you saw just Chippewa Falls hockey. They were the 8th seed. They took on the number 1 seed. The number 1 seed was 24-0, hadn't lost a hockey game all year long. That was the Stevens Point team, 24-0. Chippewa was the 8th seed, barely beat the 9 seed to go on to the next round and beat them 4-1. And the 1 seed's out. 24-0, and you're done in the first playoff game. That's what's exciting about high school sports. No different than March Madness. We both love March Madness, girls and boys side. But congratulations to Chippewa Falls. I mean, they're a rival of Rice Lake, but I mean, to beat a number 1 seed in anything is, when you're an 8 seed or a lower seed, is awesome.
Yeah, that's right. So, that's right. Dirk has a question. How is your wife doing, Chris? And you?
My wife had some surgery on her neck. She's doing well. She's doing better. Lots of pain, but great job by the staff at Marshfield and Eau Claire. Did a wonderful job. Nurses, doctors, everybody did a great job. And thanks, Dirk. And you and me. What about me? It's all
of course. Well, I asked you before we went live. I'm like, how are you doing? You're like, just playing nurse, a little tired, but playing nurse. Obviously, I can go to work.
Yeah.
So.
No, and that's right. I was going to take yesterday off too, but she's doing good. She can get up on her own and manage, and she just has to heal up for a couple weeks, and then we should be good to go.
So you shop local, and we like local sports teams, but you don't want local surgeons.
That's well, trust me, I would have better been in Rice Lake. Yeah, but Marshfield is Marshfield, so that's where they do the surgery. So don't be putting words in my mouth.
What? He's called Dan Bice.
That's right.
All right.
But exciting time in sports, and March Madness is just around the corner, and we both love that. And
can't wait.
For other than sports, Jace plays hockey, and Emma doesn't do basketball anymore, but it's the highlight. 3 years ago, 4 years ago. 4 years ago now, we were in the state tournament for hockey. So that's my memories on Facebook. So one thing I do, well, Facebook's is good for a lot of things, but the one thing that's cool about Facebook is your memories.
Yeah, I know it. Well, usually, sometimes not. Sometimes I'm like, sometimes it's not. I don't want to be reminded of that memory. No, thank you.
Right.
No.
Right. But that's the one good thing about that's really neat about Facebook is your memories come up, and you don't need to save them in a photo album. They're right there for you on your phone, and it's cool. So
it is cool. But here's something that's kind of freaky, and I don't know if anybody else has experienced this. Obviously, people that are watching this right now have Facebook because we're live on Facebook. But I take screenshots like all the time. I probably have like 2,000 screenshots, and I always forget to go back through and delete them all. But every once in a while, so that's just a screenshot with my phone using for whatever, and obviously it goes into your gallery or into your photo gallery or album. Every once in a while, then Facebook will ask me. It will bring up like 4 of them, and say, "Would you like to use these as a collage to post on Facebook?" And I'm like, "Wait, what now? Facebook? You're looking at my images on my phone? That had nothing to do with Facebook." That kind of freaked me out a little bit.
Yeah, that's just life.
I know it's not like the end of the world, but it's
don't talk about the Russians in your living room anymore. So
that's what it was. Spooner Bantams won state and got paraded into town. They did.
Thanks, Mark. Mark volunteered. Mark is a volunteer up at the Birkebeiner, so thanks, Mark, for heading up there. A great weekend for the Birkebeiner up in Hayward. Congratulations to Sawyer County, Washburn County Sheriff's Department for all the work they do. State Patrol was up there making sure that event goes off without any hitches, and it was perfect, I guess. Perfect weather, perfect snow conditions. So, but thanks to volunteers. It takes volunteers to run an organization. I know Mark. I've known Mark for years, and Mark's volunteered up there for a lot of years. He's volunteered. So thanks to all the volunteers that put on the Birkebeiner, because that's a big local tax thing for Barron, Washburn, Burnett, Sawyer. I mean, you name it. That's the revenue we get. Heads in beds means money in our local pockets to reduce the tax levy. So I mean,
and it does certainly help. There's like the radius around that. Right. I know that's what Romaine Quinn and Senator Quinn and Congressman Tom Tiffany were talking about. I think it was last year when it was about the Apostle Islands. Like National Park, and it's the impact that has, and I'm not advocating for or against it, I'm just saying that it actually does impact even our areas down here just like the Birkebeiner, because there isn't enough hotel room in Hayward for, I don't know how many people they get, 10, 20, 30,000 people, whatever the number is. Maybe it's more, I don't know. So it has like a financial positive economic impact on the area counties as well. So,
a huge impact. I mean, sales tax, I see in the governor's budget, and there's a lot of things in the governor's budget that you could argue 2 and 4, and some of the things don't need to be in there. But I see impact if the county wanted to do another 0.05 tax, you could go to referendum for that. I mean, that hasn't passed, but the counties get that sales tax. You can, if you went to referendum, you can get another 0.5%. It's a lot of money to fund. It said it had to be used for roads or law enforcement and something else. There was 3 things you could use that 0.5% for. That's a big deal. If you wanted to add a cop, if a county wanted to add a different road system or a new road, that's where the money can come from. And that generates a lot of money. I know it generates a lot of money in Barron County, that 0.5%. So another 0.5% on top of that. But that's, again, that we would be paying that, but you're trying to get it to say, you come down to Rice Lake and shop, then I get your 0.5%. But you're using our roads, you're using our police, you're using and so that's the idea behind it. But again, it then funded on the back of the taxpayers. So that's why some people aren't going to like that. So different things in there. And again, I don't want to get political. I'm trying not to be, but those are the impacts.
Really? You don't want to start talking about, like you and I have talked before about how it's civil unrest instead of riot. Right. And alleged harm doer instead of suspect. We'll put this all under the category of fixing words that aren't broken. So really you have no thought about inseminated person versus mother?
No, I don't.
We'll gloss over that one. Okay.
Again, I don't think that should be in the budget. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
I understand. I don't understand it. So, but that's the kind of stuff I don't think should be in the budget. This is a budget to run Wisconsin, not to do that kind of thing. Should be not in a budget. That's why these budgets get so confusing and they're so thick. And again, the only reason I brought up the sales tax is because that has a direct effect on law enforcement. That's why we do this show. I can show you the difference. But again, I understand people don't want to pay more when they go to Walmart. They don't want to pay more when they go buy a car. I totally understand that. That's not fixing the problem. And but yeah, so that's what we got going on. But yeah, there's a lot of issues out there that don't need to be issues that should be taken care of on a one-on-one issue and not thrown in this in a budget cycle. Yeah. That's the problem. I think is whether you like Trump or not, I think he's doing some things that you might not like, but he's doing some things that were like, whoa, there's a waste of money. There's something. So I think some of this needs to happen. I don't think it needs to happen like so fast, but there's some theories behind it.
I know, but we should have done. I forgot all about that. Wasn't there that memo that got sent out from Doge? Yeah. About like, what did you do last week or something like that? I should have actually prepared. I should have told you before the show. I want a list of 5 things that you did last week so we could justify it. That would have been fun.
Yeah, that would have been fun. And see, that kind of stuff is silly. I mean, you can't just send it out to 2 million people. And then they said AI is going to analyze it.
I was saying, who's going to read that?
Right. No, they said AI is going to analyze it. But that doesn't help me if I do my job, My job is different than my chief deputies and my captains and what they do. I mean, you reach out to the managers and say, fix your problems. I mean, that's why you're paying these. Otherwise, don't have managers, Anyway.
All right. Well, we do have some our election predictions should go wrong that we had predicted last week, and we're mostly right. You were more right than I was. So we'll get to that, and we have a story as well. There's a press release where was the article, second man sentenced in Chautauqua sand plant burglary case. So we'll get to all that in 15 seconds after a word from Spooner Health.
Spooner Health, compassion is at the center of everything we do. It's rooted in who we are and why we're here. It unites us as providers, neighbors, and as a community. Learn more at spoonerhealth.com.
Hey, speaking of local, I love seeing this stuff. And I don't know if you saw it, but we put it on our website, I don't know, last week, I think? Friday, maybe?
Yeah, I read it.
Schmitz's Economart named a 2025 Progressive Grocer Outstanding Independent. I see Mike Schaefer is watching this morning in Spooner Health. There's some commonalities here, right? All these people winning awards. They all advertise on Dryden Wire. I'm not saying, I'm just saying.
I'm just saying. We have a librarian of the year. We talked about it. We talked about Spooner Health. Mike Schaefer becomes so popular. We talked about Smith's Economore. Boom, they're grocery of the year.
Just saying.
I'm just saying. So yeah, I think you're right. If you analyze it, and obviously, our team of analyzation people that we have in the background have analyzed it. The only common denominator is Dryden Wire.
Yeah. So we don't need AI. We need BC. That's Ben and Chris.
Right.
We will analyze it for you. We have actually a question. Wow, we haven't had a question in a while. Any thoughts on the firings and leadership changes of the FBI?
A little concerned. Obviously, when any new president takes office, you want to bring your people in. You want to bring the people that support you. So I at the top, you understand if a new president comes in, if you're the FBI director, more than likely you're probably out as the director. Usually, the second in command is a permanent of any of these operations. So do I have some concern? I have some concern in talking to some of my friends in the FBI. They have some concerns, but I would guess, it seems all so sudden and rammed down, and that's some of it, but I'm sure it happens every 4 years. We just don't pay attention to it. So do I have some concerns? Yes, I have some concerns. My friends have some concerns, but let's let it play out and see where it goes. So far, I don't think many changes in the FBI have occurred, but I don't. But you always want, as a leader, whether you like them or not, you want your friends to be. You're surrounded by your friends, and so right or wrong, that's the way the process works. They have to be confirmed by the House and the Senate. Again, they were confirmed, so we got to let it play out. That's the process we put in place, so we have to let it play out. But I have some concerns, but
can you share what those concerns are, or one of them?
I just think that I don't know. He was this number 2 guy. Usually is somebody in the number 1 guy and the number 2 guy are both new to the FBI, and so that's a big change. But he was NYPD. The number 2 guy was NYPD, was Secret Service, and now he's a podcaster who's going back into law enforcement. So, these podcasters can say whatever you want to say. It's your show. You don't, but because you try to just point out facts. I mean, you don't give your opinion very often. You say, well, this could be, but he's a very controversial podcaster if you're on that side of the fence. So
we see this in local elections, just not as obviously at a much smaller scale, but sheriffs, speaking of law enforcement, you typically look in Washburn County when Dad retired. Then it was Dennis Stewart, and then Mike Richter. Said Schaefer last time. He was not the chief deputy. Then he retired a few months later. So now you have a new number 1 and number 2, a new sheriff and a new chief deputy. And it'll happen. We're going to see this a lot in a few months.
Right.
Well, in Rusk, but I mean in the next election in our local area, because we're likely going to have 5 different sheriffs in our area. Because 5 of them are all retiring, or as of right now, that's my understanding. They aren't going to be seeking another term.
Except me, I'm running.
Except for you, right? So we're going to see a change there, and there's always going to be some concern and some trepidation and some because they want to kind of put their stamp on it. Like, this is how I want to run this stuff. But yeah, it is. We get to see a lot more of it because at the local level, we don't really get to know about much, and it's not usually drastic changes or anything. But I just think that this is such it's on the lips of everyone because we read it all the time. And we see all these things that are happening. And I think it goes back to what you said originally. It's just the quickness of all of this and the significance and the quickness. I feel like, government kind of should work slowly. Not too slowly, but I think a little bit. Anyway, that's just, it's interesting.
And the only thing, and we said this before Trump took office, we said, I don't know if it'll affect me on the local level so much, and it hasn't affected the FBI at the local level, to my knowledge, and that's who I work with, not on a daily basis, but when we need assistance, we're working with them on a case that we have right now just some advice and some possibility that they might take it, that we might take it, so we've gone back and forth with them on some scam stuff that we're working on. And by the way, that seems to be ticking up. People are falling for more scams. So, don't give money to people when they call you on the phone. Grandparent scam, IRS scam. None of these are working. So, but we haven't seen any changes on the local level, just to put a bow on that topic. So no real concerns about any of the changes that have been made so far at the local level. So,
and by the way, I used your name. I totally name dropped you when Dryden Wireless called and said you need to pay your bill. And I'm like, this is a scam. Chris Fitzgerald, the sheriff in Barron County, said I should never give money to anybody when they call. So I don't know. My phone hasn't been working the last couple of days. I don't know why. It's so bizarre.
but we've seen some. We've lost. There's a Cameron, Russ County, Chippewa County scam, and it's interesting. I can't talk a lot about it because we're working it right now. But people have given a lot of money to people, so don't give money to people that show up at your house. Call us. Call 911. We will come immediately.
Really, that big of a deal?
Yeah, it's very. I don't think they're in the area anymore, but we've seen it happen. Don't give money away. Don't do it when people call you. Don't talk about it with your friends, your neighbors, whoever, your relatives. I don't care who you talk about it with. Be part of our scam squad. Do not give money if they call you, if they threaten you, if it's too good to be true. Do not give money. We have lost tens of thousands of dollars in this county in the last couple months. And it's hard to earn money that people are losing, and we can't do it. So don't fall for these scams. We don't come and collect money if your grandchild's in jail. We don't drive to your house to pick up the money. You drive to us. We don't come and call you to tell you to report to jail. We don't call you to do anything. The IRS doesn't call you on the phone. The IRS does not use the phone to pay your taxes. If they get a letter in the mail, take it to your tax man and figure it out. Take it to your local bank. They'll help you figure it out. That's why we have local banks. So don't give money there.
People victimizing people like that. I don't know. You just got finished saying I rarely share a very strong opinion, but I'm going to share one right now. People like that should be dragged out in the street and shot. Just saying. Not like don't actually do that. But like what? And come on.
And it's not.
That's disgusting.
It's big money. It's not good. So yeah.
All right. Listen. Speaking of politics, last week we kind of gave our predictions how the DPI state superintendent race was going to end up. I don't have it in front of me. I think Jill Underly got first at 37%, Kinzer 35%, and Jeff Wright was like 29.
Yep. 27. It was 37, 35, 27.
Yeah. Someone texted me after that. I'm sorry. So we both said Kinzer's going to make it through, and then it was a question of Underly and Jeff Wright. One was endorsed by the teachers union, one was endorsed by the Democratic Party, plus the incumbent. But there's some kind of negatives to that as well. Isn't whatever. And I didn't really know which one was going to be the second one. But we didn't actually call it last week, but I actually assumed that Kinzer would get the most votes during this round. She didn't. Someone texted me and said, "So what is your takeaway from this election?" And I said, "Well, Kinzer's cooked." That's literally how I described it. Because she's not going to be able to get the majority of the votes from Jeff Wright, I wouldn't think.
Well, but her statement, they both made statements on
Dryden, and it's interesting. This is great. I cannot wait to hear it. Maybe you saw the same thing I saw. So what did you see?
I saw that Jill Underly just said thanks everybody
and ripped on her opponent, which that's total campaign stuff. Not
the
saying
other
that
one
was bad.
Said Jeff Wright ran a good campaign.
Exactly.
Come to my side.
Yes.
So you always want to go after the third person's votes because that's a big deal. But I don't think they will go to her. But you can't. I just don't think negative campaigns work. I don't. But that's not who I am. I think you have to take your shots when it's factual data. But I don't think. But she did a very good job Brittany did a very good job of asking for his
smart
opponents. Yeah.
Well, she aligned herself. Didn't necessarily ask for them, but it was
Oh, she did. She said, "Come join my team."
Well, each one had like a 3-paragraph statement after the election. Right. And Jill Underly took her time to her message after saying thank you and blah, blah, blah. She took her opportunity to say that Kinzer is the worst. And then Kinzer took her opportunity to rally the votes from Jeff Wright. And I thought that was brilliant. I noticed that right away, too. I'm like, that's really interesting how that worked. So how much of the role, though, is April 1st election with the Supreme Court going to impact this? Because if the vote were just held again today, just for DPI,
right,
then I would say Jill Underly would probably win.
Right. It will have an impact, although the other side is coming on strong. I guess it would call it the Democratic side for Crawford. I think they're coming on strong. So, there's some work to be done, but this will have some impact. That will have some impact on this. I never thought of that impact of that.
Or vice versa. Does this one have a negative impact? I mean, Elon Musk, I think his super PAC just put in like $1 million in ads for hit pieces on Crawford.
Right.
And that's kind of like.
Did she use the wrong picture of her, though? You used a picture that wasn't her.
I saw that.
Come on, man.
Really? Yeah. That's what you get when you use AI to do it.
Right.
Right. And I don't know if they did use AI or not. It was just the wrong picture. That was funny. But so here's the thing. Like Brad Schimmel's coming on really strong. Actually, he did a live show. He was with Uncle Ted Nugent, yesterday. I think they did like a little jam session or something. I kind of feel like right now it's a toss-up in the Supreme Court race. I would give a slight edge to Crawford simply because she's a woman and a Democrat, and Wisconsin seems to like appointing or electing women to Supreme Court. I think we only have one male Supreme Court justice. That's Hagedorn, right? I think the rest are all female. And we just did this last year with Protasewicz. So I would probably give a slight edge. Here's what I think. I think what puts Brad over the top is if Donald Trump himself endorses Brad Schimmel and rallies them, just like what we saw here last November. That got the conservatives out to vote. I think short of that, I'm going to give the edge to Crawford, and because of that, I still will give the edge to Jill Underly. As of today, I'm going to say both of the Democrats are going to win, as of today.
And I'll agree with you on a different aspect. I think because everybody sees this wham, slam, making changes, all this cuts, all these firings, whether they're true or not, it's the idea that people are like, well, we need to slow down. So I don't know if I can put people like that in power that are backed by these people. So they could have a negative effect. It could have a positive effect. I mean, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, this is our unpolitical,
right.
expert.
Sorry, no, we don't know. We're just talking.
He's just throwing coins in the air here and flipping. So, it'll be interesting to see. I'd be interesting to see what a superintendent thinks about all this private school. I haven't talked to any of my superintendent friends about it. It's just not something we talk about. We're talking about law enforcement stuff when we do talk. I'd be interesting to see.
I will find out on Friday. We have the Shellick superintendent's going to be coming on Friday for a live show, and I'm writing it down now about that. Because I didn't even think to ask him about that. I thought we were just going to be talking about the referendum. I'm sure that's what we're going to be talking about.
Well,
but that's a really good perspective. Because that's interesting you brought that up, because she is running, Kinzer is kind of running a lot on the kids first, and there's a lot of that. Can someone win a state superintendent race for schools who doesn't advocate 100% all money should go to public school? Can that person win? And I don't care if you're the greatest person in the world and have $1 trillion. Can you win that?
And how does that affect the Shell Lake School District? If all of a sudden, I don't know. I don't know the answer to the question. So,
well, we're going to find out. Patty says, so happy to hear Chris is running for sheriff again. I was just appointed to law enforcement committee. Oh, Patty's on the board?
Patty's on our law enforcement committee. So, yeah, I've always been running. I'm always running. It's always an election year.
Yeah. Why do you think it does a show every Tuesday?
Almost an election year. So, but yeah, I'm glad Patty's on our team. She does her research. She does a lot of great. She doesn't just come to the meeting and read it there, and she prepares
it drives me nuts.
For these county board meetings. She attends meetings she's not involved with just to keep in the loop, and I think that's important. That's why I go to a lot of meetings that don't have anything to do with law enforcement because they have to do with the whole county. And how does my piece of the pie fit with this rest of this county, whether it's highway, human services? We go to executive committee, they make a lot of decisions, but how does that decision affect? Is that going to affect law enforcement?
Yeah.
How does giving one day off to all employees? How does closing on the 4th of July, because it's a Friday, affect sheriff's department? Well, we can't close on the 4th of July, so that doesn't. So we have to think about all employees, and that's what I appreciate about Barron County, the board, our department heads, is that we all think about that. We have to think about our 24/7 people, and how do we use that vacation day, and how do we benefit, make sure all employees are accounted for, and I think that's what our board does well in our leadership. So,
well, Patty, if you ever decide to move to Washburn County, as a Washburn County board supervisor myself, I can tell you that what you just said, Fitzy, I can't say for certain that that's true, that it happens Washburn County board, but I kind of have a feeling, because when you're talking about not reading the packets, be prepared before you come into a meeting. I'm just saying, I look around and people are reading it, but they're reading it, you can kind of tell, for the first time. Right? Well, come on, you got to get ready for it, man.
And that's the difference between our packets. I look at our packet versus the City of Rice Lake packet. Some of the City of Rice Lake packets are 100 pages long.
Good
How
Lord.
are you? Right. And that's just silly.
That's silly.
And at least Jeff French summarizes it, then gives us the information, not us, the county board members and the department heads. And it's online way ahead of time, 5 days ahead of time. It's not like you're getting your packet on Friday afternoon and you got a meeting Friday night, or Monday afternoon and you're getting a meeting Monday night. So I think that's the difference in having a county administrator versus not having a full-time county administrator. I think those are, you look at that. I see Sawyer County is losing their county administrator to Chippewa County. I see Andy Alvarado is going from he was in Rusk. He went to Sawyer. Now he's going to Chippewa. So Andy's a good friend of mine, or a friend of mine, and does a great job. So happy that he's going to change Chippewa County around. He's very good. So I think Chippewa County made a great choice. That's a tough loss for Sawyer County. I think they'll need a new, county administrator or whatever they have there. So, but I've seen that in working with Rusk County. They don't have a full-time county administrator. They have a county, whatever
coordinator.
They name it. Yeah, something like that.
Well, it's either administrator, coordinator, or not the governor. What do they call that? We just had one of the people on that had that executive director.
Yeah, maybe it's Jeff French.
County executive, I think.
Yeah, county executive. I think Milwaukee's the only one that has one of them. But
no, we had that dude who's interested in running for. Well, the rumor is, now that it's been a little bit of time that he hasn't been on, was it Josh Schumann or something? It was one of the WOW counties, Washington County. I think there's like 10 or 12 in Wisconsin counties that have executive. But he came on the show talking about stuff. But really, he was just trying to get his name out there because I believe he's interested in running for governor or is kicking around the idea.
That's in 2 years too. That's less than.
Yeah, but that's coming up faster though, right? People are going to be even like their local sheriff's races. You're going to have to make a decision. I mean, you don't have to announce it, but people are going to have to make a decision by the end of this year if they're going to do it or not. And that's jeepers. We're already almost in March.
Right, whether the incumbent decides to run or retire, you have 1 year from November, and November's coming. It's the end of February already. So, executive Dave Wilson knows.
Dave Wilson, executive.
Thanks for watching, Dave. We miss you, buddy.
All right, we had an article we put up last week. The headline was "Second Man Sentenced in Chautauqua Sand Plant Burglary Case." That was a free article because we didn't request a criminal complaint on that story. That's if anyone's wondering. That's typically when an insider is an insider story is because we request a criminal complaint and do like a full story on it. But there was still a lot of information that we put into it. But it stemmed from a press release that you had done. That's where even when you send out press releases, we follow those stories to the end as well. You saw that. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm happy with that. That was a big case put on by our detectives. Jailson was the leader of that, and appreciate that. And we recovered. Well, they damaged and we recovered a lot of things, but they had $700,000 in damages out there and stolen stuff and equipment that were damaged. So glad we caught them. Happy that with the sentence, and
What was the sentence? I forgot what it was.
I had it up. Hang on, I got it up right here.
I think I have it on my laptop here.
I got it right here.
Okay.
They were charged with 7 years of prison, 4 years of initial confinement, 3 years of extended supervision.
4 years.
That was the first guy. The second guy got 2 years of incarceration and 2 years. And the first guy was the leader, if I remember right. And the second guy wasn't. So, yeah. Burglarize something, you should go to jail. The other guy's got some other pending charges in another county, so he's going to get sentenced to that. They can't run the same. They'll never pay the company back the $700,000, my guess, but they got to start paying $25 a month or whatever. So I don't know how much. That's a lot of months, but they're going to have to pay for it. So
happy with their sentences?
Yeah, I think that's great. Anytime you can put people in prison for doing burglaries to this magnitude, I think it's a great thing. Yeah, then hopefully they learn their lesson and come out and they're better in society. And
hopefully they come out, they're better in society, and they get high-paying jobs so they can pay back, the $700,000 that they owe. Because I think the business owners would be more happy with that than a 20-year prison sentence. How about you get out and get a job so you can pay us? Because that's how this works.
That's right. And they got to do that forever. They go after their taxes every year, tax intercept, and all that other stuff that goes on. And that's the behind the scenes when you see some administrative staff at these departments. We have an a person down in our jail. I mean, they do a lot of this. They do this tax intercept. They do fees. They collect the fees. They make sure people get their money back when they come into jail, out of jail. So a lot of people say, why do we got all these positions and what do they do? And and that's what the national government's going through is what local government does. The national government should run like local governments. We know exactly what everybody does, and we hold people accountable. We hire people, we fire people. And the national government should run just like local government. We should know where the money's being spent and who's running it and how many employees we have and what they do every day. That's my job. That's what you pay me to do. And we make sure our people are out there doing their job. So,
yeah, I mean, if you go from like a small town, let's say Dave Wilson, Shell Lake police chief until his retirement, you have, I don't know, a couple, 3 employees, whatever it was. And all of a sudden, you become a sheriff and you think, well, my budget before, which I have no idea what the budget is, $400,000, $500,000, something like that. Actually, I don't even know. I'm just guessing. Then you go to a sheriff's office budget. Well, they would be able to actually know more about what his 2 or 3 employees are doing because they have fewer employees. But and you've brought this up before but when you're at the sheriff's level, it's a larger budget, but it's still a budget. I mean, it's still percentages. It's just larger numbers. But you probably don't know everything about everybody, but that's why you have more layers there.
Correct.
Right? And those are your quote-unquote managers, right? And they're not, but sergeants and chief deputies and et cetera. So, yeah, if each time you go up a little bit and it's a larger budget, you have more people, but that means there's always someone that is paying attention to all this stuff. But it just seems like we got to a point where now, like even in the Wisconsin budget, certainly the national budget, it's who's actually checking all this stuff. I just saw Sean Duffy, local person, right, in transportation. He saw it was pretty funny. He put out the Mr. President, this is what I did last week post on Facebook, and it was kind of funny. But in there he said found I don't remember how many billions of dollars have been put into this rail project program that has been going on for like 17 years, and not one track has been laid yet. And how many billions of dollars or many millions have gone into this? Like what? And nobody noticed this, right? At all? For the last 20 years, nobody noticed that.
But that's the problem with politics. We get an 800-page budget, and everybody's got their finger in there because they owe somebody for. That goes back to how you get elected, and it goes back to, hey, don't forget I donated $100,000 to your campaign, and this would be really great if this road got put in the budget, and now this road gets put in the budget magically, and. That's why every bill should be one person. I know it would take a lot more to vote, but if every bill we'd only have one topic to talk about instead of 900 or 9,000 topics to talk about. So again, that's our opinion.
Yeah.
I know that's your opinion, but we've got to shrink this a little bit and can't have these budgets be 900 pages long and have 1 week to look at them.
Right.
So, because there's a lot of fluff in there, or not fluff. Maybe it's good, but I don't know because, everybody's promised somebody something, and there's 100 legislatures or whatever the number is. So that's because we owe people.
It is true.
Because they get us elected. So that's why you can't accept that super PAC money or whatever it is. I don't know. I don't know how to fix it, but there's a problem and it needs
If
to be
Elon
fixed.
Musk in his super PAC came and said, Fitzy, I see you have an opponent, which I don't believe anyone is running against you, and I would be shocked if they did. But let's say somebody decides to, and Elon Musk comes and says, we're going to give you $1 million. Would you say no?
Well, he can't.
Well,
He can't.
not
But
you.
he can go spend it on. He can spend it on.
Sure. Would you be
running his
okay
own
with that? Would you like that, or would you make sure it got to that person that no, I don't want any of that stuff? I mean,
It's a good question because it depends on what their motive is. I mean, is it because they think I'm doing a good job and they think that I can make a difference in the community? But you have to be careful with that because then you owe somebody.
at least I feel like I would owe somebody, whether they actually expected anything in return or not. But because there's a little fine line there. Like the NRA endorses, I don't know, we'll just say Tom Tiffany, because I'm assuming they probably have. Is it because now they want him to vote for anything that is pro NRA? You can make an argument that, well, yeah. Or is it because he was for all of the gun rights and everything to begin with, and like, well, since you align with us, well, then we want you in office, so we're going to. We don't want anything back. So it's kind of tricky. Like, I don't know which ones are which, and that's the hard part. Like, I don't know which ones.
You don't know in today's world because so much is done behind the scenes and under the table. But again, everybody can only give me, I think it's $490. So, I mean,
yeah, sheriffs, I think, are based on like a percentage of your population.
Any local election is based on the percentage that you can only give individually. Doesn't mean you can literally say this is paid for by Ben Dryden and I think Chris Fitzgerald's the greatest. You can do that as long as I don't have a say in that.
Yeah.
So I can't say, well, use this picture instead of this picture. I'm sure you have a lot of good ones of me.
I do. That's right. That's awesome. I'm going back and watching the replay of this, and I'm going to take a screenshot of that so I have an updated version of the one that you do in this. Oh, I don't have that on my Stream Deck. Oh, that was fantastic.
So,
all right. Well, here's the weather coming up here from our official weather person for our show, Dirk Miller. I like seeing those numbers, man. Look at that, Fitzy, the highs there.
Yeah, and next Monday or Sunday and Monday look even better, and looked in the long-range forecast. So, yeah, excited.
Well, hold on. Look at Thursday and Friday, light rain stuff. Well, just be careful in the mornings. Looks like maybe Thursday and Friday, because if we do get rain
or snow, that's going to make
and then
it
gets frozen, it could be some slippery mornings here. So
let's cancel school right now.
That's great. So. Well, Shellick's probably gonna have to cancel school because I'll have the superintendent on the show this Friday, and 2-hour delay. Yep.
Why do you cancel school? No.
Oh, I will ask.
When I went to school, we walked uphill both ways in the cold, and
no, in 6 feet of snow in the blazing heat. That's what it is.
Well, we didn't have much to talk about, but I hope everybody learned something today.
Yeah. What do you have coming up this week?
Just some meetings, making sure Holly recovers, and nothing spectacular. So Jace is away in Illinois this weekend. Emma comes home next week. So next week, Emma will be home visiting some friends and stopping and see us for a couple of days. So, not much. What do you got going on?
Tomorrow, IT meeting tomorrow, committee meeting. And Thursday, Romaine Quinn, Senator Quinn will be on for his monthly chat. He comes on the last Thursday of every month. And then, again, Todd, I think it's Fellhofer. Can't remember his last name. The Shellick superintendent. He'll be on the show on Friday. So it's a busy week. But I like busy weeks.
Yeah, that's right.
Just not every week.
That's right. Not all the time.
not all the time. Jeepers. For Barron County Sheriff Chris Fitzgerald, I'm Ben Dryden, and you've been watching The Big Show, Positive Tuesday with Ben and Fitzy, presented by Professional Exteriors and Interiors. With 20 years of experience as locally owned and operated business, provides quality work both on the inside and on the outside of your home or business. Like Fitzy and I, they believe it's the little things that make a big difference. You see there's a question there? I don't have time to read it. Read it and see if you want to answer.
I don't have a question.
Okay, hold on. There we go. This is a Rice Lake PD question. Maybe you know.
There were a few cops walking around Hatton on Sunday asking people to see cameras looking for the night before. I don't have any idea on that one. Nothing major that I saw on the logs that I can remember. So sorry about that one. I don't know about that one.
I don't either. And I don't check the logs anymore ever since you stopped. Anyway, somebody else had to ruin it for the rest of us. All right.
That's right.
I'll see all of you on Thursday with Romaine Quinn. Fitzy and I, of course, will be back next week for another exciting episode of Positive Tuesday with Ben and Fitzy. So until then, thank you for watching, and as always, have a blessed day.